Hello and welcome back to 90+1 Facts, the channel where I slowly edge my way into insanity by telling you things such as how many goals does Peter Schmeichel have? Why is Roy Keane such a f***at? And is it a terrible idea that they've put a Manchester City fan in charge of this video? 1. Manchester United were formed back in 1878 as Newton Heath LYR Football Club. 2. They were formed by employees of the carriage and wagon department of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway depot at Newton Heath. 3. Newton Heath initially played matches against other departments and railway companies, but on the 20th of November 1880 they played their first recorded match, losing 6-0 to a Bolton Wanderers reserve team. 4. United fans' love of green and gold doesn't come from a weird love-in with Delia Smith and Norwich, but actually comes from the colours of the railway company they were formed from. 5. In 1888, Newton Heath became a founding member of the Combination, a football league consisting of teams from around about here. 6. The problem with the Combination League was that the games were organised by the clubs themselves, so no one was sure what was just a friendly match or actually a league game. It was no surprise that the league dissolved just after one season. 7. Newton Heath joined the newly formed Football Alliance, which ran for 3 seasons before being merged with the Football League. 8. The club began life in the Football League in 1892, starting in the First Division. The LYR had now been dropped from their name, and after 2 seasons, Newton Heath were relegated to the Second Division. 9. It's now 1902, and just like the current state of the club, Newton Heath are in debt. £2,670 to be exact. Now I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but they didn't have billions being pumped into them back then like we do today, so they were served with a winding up order. 10. Club captain, Harry Stafford, found 4 local businessmen to invest £500 into the club in exchange for direct running of Newton Heath.
But that valuation was absolutely loopy.
11. In 1902, club president John Henry Davies agreed upon changing the name to the one we all know, the one we all despise, and the one that you probably love, because why else would you be watching this video? Manchester United was officially born. 12. Ernest Magnol is a horrendous name, but it happens to be the name of the first successful manager of Manchester United. He won 2 First Division titles, 1 FA Cup and 2 Charity Shields. He still remains United's 3rd most successful manager of all time. 13. After a fruitful 9 years, Ernest Magnol did a Tevez and joined the beautiful blue side of Manchester, where in the space of 12 years he won nothing. But City did finish 2nd in 1921, so put that in your trophy cabinet and suck it. 14. You may be laughing at City after that fact, but in 1922, Manchester United were relegated back to the Second Division. 15. United became what is known as a yo-yo club, being promoted back up to the First Division in 1925, but being relegated again in 1931. They achieved their lowest ever finish in 1934, finishing 20th, just 1 point off being relegated to the 3rd Division North. 16. Club president John Henry Davies died in 1927. The club's finances then deteriorated faster than Wayne Rooney's hair. In 1931, James W. Gibson, a rich Salford-born businessman, saved the club from bankruptcy and invested £2,000, effectively taking control of the club. 17. 2 relegations, 2 promotions, and another World War all followed in the next 15 years. In 1945, competitive league football resumed and Scotsman Matt Busby was appointed manager. 18. Busby demanded unprecedented levels of control over team selection, player transfers and training sessions. This clearly worked as they finished 2nd in 1947, 1948 and 1949, as well as winning the FA Cup in 1948. 19. In 1952, the club won the First Division for the first time in 41 years. The team was nicknamed the Busby Babes by the media in reference to Busby's faith in his youthful team, which had an average age of just 22. 20. 5 years on and United became the first ever English side to compete in the European Cup. They reached the semis where they lost 5-3 on aggregate to eventual winners Real Madrid. 21. On their journey to the semi-final, the Reds recorded their highest ever goal tally by putting 10 goals past Belgian champions Anderlecht. The match was played at Manchester City Stadium, Main Road, due to Old Trafford not having any floodlights. 22. The following season, tragedy struck as they were flying back from a quarter-final victory over Red Star Belgrade. The aircraft carrying the players, officials and journalists crashed while attempting to take off after refueling in Germany. The disaster claimed 23 lives, including 8 first-team players. 23. Reserve team manager Jimmy Murphy took over while Busby recovered from his injuries. Murphy took his makeshift Manchester United side to the FA Cup final, where they lost 2-0 to Bolton Wanderers. 24. Busby returned the following season, rebuilding the team with players such as Denis Law and Pat Crorand, and combining them with youth players such as George Best. They won the FA Cup in 1963, as well as the First Division in 1965 and 1967. 25. In 1968, United became the first English club to win the European Cup, beating Benfica 4-1 in the final. The team included 3 European Footballers of the Year, Bobby Charlton, Denis Law and George Best. 26. Matt Busby spent his entire playing career at rivals Liverpool and Manchester City. 27. Matt Busby didn't buy a single player between 1953 and 1957, and he only bought 16 players in the 13 years before the Munich air disaster. 28. In 1971, Irishman Franco Farrell took the reins but couldn't last longer than 18 months, only achieving an 8th placed finish. Tommy Docherty replaced him and saved United from relegation that season, only to see them relegated in 1974. 29. United had to beat Manchester City to hold on to any hope of staying up that season, but they succumbed to a 1-0 defeat with former United player and hero Denis Law scoring a backheel goal for the citizens. Other results on the day meant United were relegated regardless of the result, but Denis Law didn't know that and he refused to celebrate his goal. 30. United's record Premier League win was back in 1995, smashing Ipswich 9-0. 31. In the Premier League, United have lost by a margin of 5 goals 3 times. To Newcastle United, to Chelsea, and of course they lost 6-1 to possibly the best team that has ever existed, Manchester City. Don't worry, you'll enjoy the next fact honestly. 32. Club legend Ryan Giggs has won 34 trophies, 9 more than Manchester City have won in their entire history. That was horrible saying that, the things I do to get paid. Outrageous. 33. The Red Devils' worst loss was all the way back in 1926, conceding 7 to Blackburn. 34. United have the record of most consecutive league title wins, with 3 titles, sharing the record with them are Huddersfield Town, Arsenal and Liverpool. However, United are the only English club to achieve the feat twice, from 1998 to 2001 and again from 2006 to 2009. 35. The youngest ever player to make his first team debut for the Reds was Angel Gomes in 2017, at the tender age of 16 years, 8 months and 20 days. Edwin Van Der Sar was the oldest, playing his last match for the side at 40 years, 6 months and 29 days. 36. I thought the Law and the Law won. That's because I can't score for shit and Denis Law can, scoring the most goals in a season in all competitions with 46 in 1963 to 1964. 37. The most league goals scored in a 38-game season for the Red Devils is 31, achieved by the man who will never return to Man United, Cristiano Ronaldo. No matter how epic it would be, he's in a much better place now. I mean, he's not dead, he's just in Madrid. 38. The achievement of most goals scored in a single match by a United player is held by 2 people. Londoner Harold House scored 6 in an 8-4 rout of Swindon in 1911, whilst George Best managed to put 6 past Northampton in the 1970 FA Cup tie. 39. The goalkeeper with the record of longest time without conceding a goal is the 6'5.5" Dutchman Edwin Van Der Sar, spending 1,311 minutes in the 2008-09 season without having to pick the ball out of his own net once. 40. Own goals is the club's 5th highest goal scorer in history with 181 goals. Only Jack Rowley, Denis Law, Bobby Charlton and Wayne Rooney have more. 41. In 2001, United beat Everton without having a single shot on target, winning courtesy of a Stephen Watson own goal. 42. Ruud Van Nistelrooy not only has a pretty cool name, but he wasn't bad at scoring either, creating the record of scoring in 10 consecutive Premier League matches back in 2003. The record stood unbeaten until the shark-faced man from Leicester, Jamie Vardy, scored 11 on the trot in 2015, with the 11th coming against Manchester United. 43. The fastest Manchester United hat-trick of all time is by Ernie Goldthorpe, putting 3 past Notts County in just 4 minutes back in February 1923. 44. Time for a quick fat streak of United streaks, where their longest unbeaten run in all major competitions was for 45 matches in their treble-winning season of 1998-99. 45. Their longest losing streak in the league was a painful 14 matches in 1930. 46. The longest league drawing streak was surprisingly not last season, but actually in the 80s, totting up 6 consecutive stalemates. 47. The longest league scoring streak for United was 36 matches from December 2007 to November 2008. Alright, the streak facts are over now. Put your clothes back on and get ready for some more juicy facts. 48. Dennis Law has the United record for most hat-tricks, scoring 18 in his 9-year stint at Manchester United. 49. The Puskas Award is attributed to the player who is judged to have scored the most beautiful goal of the season. It's fitting then that the award went to the man who considers himself the most beautiful, Cristiano Ronaldo, for his 40-yard screamer against Porto in 2009. 50. Ronaldo was bought for €12.24 million from Sporting CP, making him the most expensive teenager in English football history at the time. He scored 118 goals in just 292 appearances for the Red Devils before becoming United's record sale, switching beautiful Manchester for slightly more beautiful Madrid at the cost of £80 million in 2009. 51. I would tell you this fact, but I can't mention it due to a super injunction. Psych, well hey, great banter. It's Ryan Giggs and his record of 963 Manchester United appearances. Bobby Charlton is second with 758. 52. Ryan Giggs signed for United all the way back in 1987, after Ferguson sent a scout to watch him play for Salford Boys. He was offered a trial and scored a hat-trick as Fergie watched on from his office window. Sir Alex turned up at his house on his 14th birthday and signed Giggs on schoolboy forms, offering him the chance to turn professional in 3 years' time. 53. Before Sir Alex swooped for Giggs, the Welshman was actually a part of Manchester City's School of Excellence from 1985 to 1987. 54. Ryan Giggs made his league debut in 1991 in a 2-0 defeat against Everton at Old Trafford. In his first start for the club, he scored his first goal, scoring the winner against Manchester City. 55. Giggs' playing career spanned from the 1990 to 91 season to the 2013-14 season. That's a 24-year career, lasting 8,466 days. That is mind-boggling. Fair play to the man. You will never see anything like that ever again. Everyone else just buggers off to the MLS to play some soccer against quality opposition, like Kevin Doyle or Jose Altidore. 56. Obviously, that means Giggs holds the record for the longest Premier League career, with 7,934 days, way ahead of second place by 1,122 days. Who's in second, I hear you ask? Half of Manchester's favourite ginger, Little Paul Scholes. 57. Our fact machine is still stuck on the Welshman as he holds the record for most Premier League assists, with 162. Way back in second place is Cesc Fabregas with 107. 58. Bobby Charlton was United's all-time top scorer with 249 goals in 758 appearances. That was until 2017, when the man wearing someone else's hair overtook him with 250 goals in just 559 appearances. With the record-breaking goal, a beautiful free kick against Stoke in the 94th minute to earn a draw. 59. Rooney is also the highest scoring Englishman with 53 international goals, overtaking Bobby Charlton again, who reached 49. 60. Ever since he got out of that swamp, Rooney just kept making history. On his debut, he scored a hat-trick in a Champions League match against Fenerbahce, making him the youngest player to score a Champions League hat-trick at just 18 years and 335 days. 61. Rooney clearly loved the Champions League as he is currently the top English goalscorer in the competition with 34 goals. The nearest Englishman is Paul Scholes on 24 and Steven Gerrard on 21. 62. Unsurprisingly, Roy Keane is the most sent-off man in United's Premier League era, being sent off 7 times. That's 1 time less than his arch-nemesis from Arsenal, Patrick Vieira. 63. As much as it kills me inside to say this, Manchester United are the most successful team in England. They've won 42 major titles in all, including 20 league titles, 12 FA Cups, 5 League Cups, 3 Champions Leagues, 1 Europa League, and 1 FIFA Club World Cup. 64. In the 1998-99 season, United won the Premier League, FA Cup, and the UEFA Champions League, becoming the first and only English team to win the treble. 65. Manchester United have only had 22 full-time managers since their formation. with the first being Alfred Harold Albert from 1892 until 1900. 66. Louis van Gaal, the man with a face like a clenched fist, was the first non-British or Irish manager to manage the Red Devils. 67. Manchester United's record signing is Paul Pogba. The £89.3 million purchase also holds the title of world record transfer fee, eclipsing the £86 million Real Madrid paid Tottenham for Gareth Bale back in 2013. 68. Pogba was initially a youth player at United, making 3 first-team appearances under Alex Ferguson in the 2011-12 season. After finding his playing time limited, he ran down his contract and signed for Italian giants Juventus. Ferguson accused Pogba of disrespecting Manchester United, saying, "I don't think he showed us any respect at all, to be honest. I'm quite happy that if they carry on that way, they're probably better doing it away from us." 69. It turns out he was better doing it away from them, as he was named 2013's Golden Boy for the best young player in Europe. Pogba's stock rose incredibly after 4 seasons in Turin, and in 2016 he dabbed his way back to Manchester, making Juventus a cheeky £89.3 million profit. 70. Fergie probably wouldn't have been happy with that bit of business, but what he would be happy with is how long he spent at United, lasting an incredible 26 years and 194 days. The only thing that's lasted longer than Ferguson's managerial reign is Steven Gerrard's haircut and Ryan Giggs' infidelity. 71. In those 26 years, Sir Alex took charge of exactly 1,500 games, winning 59.7% of them. He also probably chewed for about 1 million pieces of gum. 72. The red-nosed Scotsman won 13 Premier League titles, 5 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, 2 Champions Leagues, 1 Club World Cup, and a bunch of other cups that no one really cares about, but they're on your screen now. 73. Sir Alex's team never once finished lower than 3rd during the Premier League era, finishing in the top 2 in 18 out of 21 seasons. 74. United have the most recipients of the Ballon d'Or for an English team, with Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton, George Best, and Cristiano Ronaldo all picking up the award whilst wearing the famous red kit. 75. It was under Sir Matt Busby that the Red Devils got their nickname. It was borrowed from Salford Rugby Club, who toured France under the same name whilst also wearing red shirts. 76. I like to dress up in a large mascot suit as much as the Nets guy.
Do you sniff each other and things? No.
Ew. But Man United's devilish mascot, Fred the Red, is actually their 6th mascot. Previous mascots include Michael the Canary, Major the St. Bernard dog, a one-legged soldier named Hoppy Fawn, a goat named Billy, and Jack Irons, a man who paraded around the pitch in a dinner jacket and an umbrella. 77. Chris Smalling holds a Strange Award for being both useless and also for being on the pitch the shortest amount of time for Man United, playing only 12 seconds in a 2-1 win against Norwich in 2012. 78. The only thing I can do in 15 seconds is, actually don't worry about that. However, in just 15 seconds, Ryan Giggs can score a goal, and that's exactly what he did against Southampton back in 1995, scoring United's fastest Premier League goal. There's actually 7 goals faster than his, with Ledley King's being the fastest in just 9.9 seconds. 79. Turning back time quickly like Cher, we arrive in the sequel to World War I, and Old Trafford was bombed by the Germans, destroying massive sections of the stadium. Old Trafford had to be rebuilt, so in the meantime, they played their home games at Main Road, Manchester City's ground at the time. 80. Man City's ground is also the place where United set their record attendance, with 83,260 turning out to watch them play against Arsenal in 1948. This is the 3rd highest attendance in English football, only bettered by Man City vs Stoke in 1934 and Tottenham Hotspur vs Leverkusen at Wembley in 2016. 81. United are involved in 4 different derbies. The first is the Manchester derby against crosstown rivals Manchester City. The second is the Northwest derby against fierce rivals Liverpool. Other games that are considered by some fans as derbies are against Arsenal and historically Leeds United. 82. The first meeting between Liverpool and United was back in 1894, with Liverpool beating Newton Heath 2-0. 83. When the two sides met at Old Trafford for the first time in 1910, they played out a 7-goal thriller with Liverpool winning 4-3. 84. The Red Devils lead the head-to-head battle with 79 wins to Liverpool's 65, with 54 draws played out. That means the sides have met a whopping 198 times. 85. The top scorers in the derby are currently Steven Gerrard and United's George Wall and Sandy Turnbull, all joint top on 9 each. 86. If you're a United fan, you probably won't want to hear this, but the largest victory in the feisty fixture was a 7-1 defeat of United. It was in 1895, so I think you're probably over it by now. 87. 9 players have transferred directly between the clubs, with Mancunian Phil Chisnell being the last player to do so for £25,000 back in April 1964. 88. However, you can actually make that 10 players if you include the unknown Welshman Ramon Callist. Callist was once dubbed as the new Ryan Giggs, but he didn't live up to that expectation, moving on a free transfer to Liverpool in 2005. 89. Other notable players that have indirectly played for both sides include Peter Beardsley, Paul Ince, and Michael Owen, the man who makes me consider a quick trip to Dignitas every time he speaks. 90. We're into the 90th minute, so you must know what's coming up next. That's right, it's Fergie time. An article by the BBC in 2012 found that Fergie time definitely existed, at least in the 11-12 season, where they had an extra 79 seconds injury time on average whenever they were losing. 91. The most appropriate fact for this number is always a last-minute goal, and Manchester United are full of them. One of the most notable ones was in the Champions League final in 1999. Bayern Munich were winning 1-0 with 4 minutes added on. Teddy Sheringham scored 36 seconds into added time, and less than 2 minutes later, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer popped up and rifled the ball into the net to send United fans wild, taking United's trophy haul to 3 for the season. And that is it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more 90+1 facts.